Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's social emotional learning lesson. This is for fifth grade specifically. So if you are in fifth grade, you are in the right place. If you are kindergarten through fourth grade, you're going to want to go find the kindergarten through fourth grade video on Canvas. But if you're in fifth grade, you're all set. So we'll go ahead and get started. Here is our plan for today. We are going to do something scientific, and I'm very excited because I love science. We are going to take an interest survey. After you take the survey, I'm going to collect all of our data, and then once I have it in information that's presentable to you, I'm going to share it in a couple weeks. I'm really looking forward to that so we can see what everybody's interests are. After that, as an option, if you would like something else to do, we have a fun Kahoot game on Canvas that you can play. But again, this is optional because the interest survey is going to take a while, and I want to make sure that you don't get overwhelmed and have too much work. This is what you are going to need to get started today. You are going to need some notebook paper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then I would recommend a pencil as your writing utensil. You can use a pen or a marker, but I like using pencil because if I make a mistake, I can erase it. This is what you are going to do. And feel free to pause this video if you need to go grab those items. Once you have your paper and your pencil, you are going to number your notebook paper down the left side from 1 to 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and I ran out of room, so I'm going to bring some space up here, 15, 16. So this is what my paper looks like. Yours should look similar. You can space them out as much as you need, but you're really not going to need a lot of space to write. It's just for tally marks, actually. I am going to show you some slides over the next couple of minutes. Each slide is going to correspond with the number on your paper. So when we're at slide 1, you're going to write your answers next to number 1. Slide 2, answers next to number 2, and so on. I know you'll catch on, and we'll explain as we go. So once you have your numbers ready, we can go ahead and move on. If you need to pause the video at any time, again, you are welcome to do that. Ooh. The keyboard is very sensitive today. So for the following slides, you are going to make a tally mark next to your number 1 for each item you think you would enjoy. Okay, so when we start with number 1 for slide 1, you're going to make a tally mark for each of the things that you think you would enjoy. I'm going to have a list that I'm going to read to you. So for example, if there are 4 items on the slide that you think you would enjoy, you would put 4 tally marks. Let me move my screen out of the way so that you can see what it looks like when you make a 6 tally mark. So the 5, you have 4 with a line striking through them. And then for 6, you have 5 with a line striking through them and 1 extra because 5 plus 1 is 6. You can really keep your tally marks however you'd like. That's just a convenient way that I like to keep track of tally marks. Here is our slide 1. So next to number 1, you are going to make tally marks for each of these items that you would enjoy. I'll read them out to you. Taking care of pets in your neighborhood. Transplanting small trees. Planting and taking care of flowers and plants. Working in a garden and creating landscapes. Nursing sick animals back to health. Brushing or grooming dogs, cats, and/or horses, hiking and watching wildlife, chopping wood and replanting trees, identifying environmental hazards and sick, dying plants. So make a tally mark for each of these items that you think you would enjoy. We do not need to count them up yet, just make your tallies and then we'll move on. And if you need a minute, go ahead and pause this. If not, let's go to slide 2. For slide 2, we are looking at number 2. Repairing small appliances, painting houses or buildings, using tools to make household repairs, cutting and shaping wood to build structures, volunteering for Habitat for Humanity, drawing floor plans, building simple circuit boards, laying brick or cinder block, landscaping and planting flower gardens. Let's move on to number 3. So next to number 3, make your tally marks. Performing music, drama, dance for an audience. Creating graphic designs on a computer. Creating an original video or film. Sketching or painting pictures. Taking photographs. Writing poems, stories, or plays. Making jewelry, sculptures, ceramics, or stained glass. Designing a newspaper layout, artwork. Being an announcer for an amateur radio station. Let's go to slide 4. So again, slide 4, number 4, I'm sure you have the hang of it. Using a cash register. Typing minutes of a school club meeting. Filing or sorting mail or other papers. Running your own business. Developing web pages and creating print layouts using desktop publishing. Managing tasks for a group. Preparing reports and analyzing data. Typing documents for other people. Volunteering to answer phones. And slide 5. Slide 5. Working as a kids camp counselor or volunteer. Tutoring young children. Reading to elementary school students. Giving instructions for or directing a play. Babysitting young children. Organizing and shelving library books, peer counseling or mediation, helping at Special Olympics events, teaching young children in an after-school program. Slide 6. Planning a mock stock market game, investing money and studying investments, balancing a checkbook, opening a savings or checking account, being a treasurer for a school club, organizing a fundraiser, collecting money for a school or community event, developing a budget, using spreadsheets and financial computer programs. Slide 7. Campaigning for a political candidate, making political speeches, volunteering as an urban planning committee member, running for class office, planning and preparing budgets, participating in a debate, volunteering as a legislative aide, learning and speaking a foreign language, researching and writing grants. Slide 8. Taking care of a sick relative, watching doctor or hospital shows on TV, learning first aid and CPR, volunteering at a retirement home, volunteering as a hospital aide, using a stethoscope to listen to someone's heart, identifying human body parts from a diagram, bandaging sports injuries with a trainer's help, assisting persons in wheelchairs with daily tasks. Slide 9. Working in a restaurant, planning vacations and other events, cooking, baking, and serving meals, participating in sports or recreational activities, being a lifeguard, catering an event, working at a concession stand, exercising and working out, officiating a sporting event. Slide 10. Making a family menu, working with the elderly, working at a shelter, shopping, comparing prices and consumer goods, listening and helping friends with problems, participating in youth groups or community groups, working as a dietetic aide, volunteering at a retirement home, volunteering to be a big brother, big sister. Slide 11. Developing software programs, building computers, playing video games, surfing the internet, learning how to configure operating systems, installing software, learning how to assemble computer hardware, playing with electronic gadgets, designing video games. Slide 12. Reading mystery novels, listening to a police scanner, watching mystery movies or courtroom dramas, playing Clue or other mystery board games, volunteering in a lawyer's office, following court cases in the news, participating in EMT training, volunteering to search for missing pets or persons, participating in search and/or rescue training. 13. Welding or working with metals, repairing and upholstering furniture, creating wood carvings, taking machine shop classes, making belts or other leather goods, operating a printing press, installing and repairing home electronics, sewing, weaving, knitting, or other needlework, building cabinets, shelves, and other simple woodworking. Slide 14. Cutting and styling hair, selling products for a school fundraiser, taking tours of new houses for sale, designing or modeling clothes, giving people advice on products they should buy, decorating your house and rearranging your furniture, planning and having a yard sale, arranging and selling flowers, fixing watches and clocks. Slide 15. Visiting science museums, designing experiments, exploring caves and collecting rocks, watching the weather and tracking storms, using a computer to solve math problems and equations, identifying plants, animals, and/or marine life, developing solutions to environmental problems, building model aircraft, boats, or trains, learning about different cultures. Slide 16. Flying airplanes, repairing vehicles, bikes, and engines, working in a warehouse or taking inventory, operating motorized machines or equipment, visiting space camps, building and repairing boats, operating a CB or ham radio, reading mechanical and automotive magazines or blogs, having a paper route. All right, so by now, you should have your tally marks next to each number that corresponds with the slides. So now I'm going to show you how we're going to add them up. So let's say, for example, and I'm doing this randomly, that my number 1 has 7 tallies next to it. Okay, so we have the 5, 6, 7. I'm going to write the number 7 and circle it so that it's really easy for me to know how to count up my score. And I'm going to do that for each of these numbers that I have tallies next to. I'm just doing this one for an example, but you should have tally marks next to all of these numbers. You're going to take all of your tally marks and you're going to add them up one at a time with your numbers. So you should have lots of circled numbers down the middle of your paper. Go ahead and pause that, count up your numbers that you have. So for example, number 1, I have number 7, number 2, number 3, and so on. Don't add these numbers up, keep them separate, okay? And when you're ready, go ahead and come back. And again, this is just what I had described. So just counting up your tallies, and then we're going to find the 3 numbers that are the largest. So for example, if my number 10 had 12 tallies, that's probably going to be one of my top 3 numbers that I have. So find your 3 biggest numbers. And here is our key, okay? A key is something that refers back to the activity that we've done and gives us the answers, okay? So each of these numbers corresponds with a type of career. For example, number 1 corresponds with agriculture, food, and natural resources. I want you to look at your paper and figure out what your top 3 numbers were, and then I want you to find them on the key. So for example, if my number 10 had a bunch of tallies next to it and it was one of my top 3 numbers, I would look for number 10 and say, okay, on the key, it says human services. That's the career that's in my top 3. Go ahead and take a minute, look through your numbers, figure out your top 3, and then identify in the key what those numbers correspond to. And once you've done that, write down what your top 3 careers were. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. If you need to pause, you can. The last step that you're going to do is you are going to go into Canvas. There is a Microsoft form related to this interest inventory, and I'm going to have you fill out that form. It's very self-explanatory, but basically what you're doing is recording your top 3 interest areas and then answering a question or 2. I'm then going to take all of those answers, look at them, collect them together, and look at them as data, and I'll present them to you later on once I have my answers. You all did a great job today. I know that this was a little bit more of a complicated and challenging lesson, but I know that you could handle it, and I hope that you learned something from it. You get to take those 3 careers that you identified in this interest inventory, and maybe you can do some research on them. Check out some books at the library on them. You can ask a family or a friend who might have that career what they like about it and what they dislike. And you can just continue to build your knowledge on that throughout middle and high school as well next year. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I can't wait to see your survey responses, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.